I don't, uh, I don't really know how to start this one. Uh, so today I have to move where I'm parked at because I'm parked under this little tree that's kind of rubbing on the truck. So yeah, I started my testosterone injections a week ago. Excuse me, and as expected, there have been no changes because there aren't going to be any changes from till about 4 to 6 weeks. That's kind of the normal thing to expect. And I don't know if, since I'm on a lower dose, I'm only doing a 100 milligrams every other week. I don't know if that means it's going to be uh, even longer. Like, I don't know if it'll be like 8 to 12 weeks. Um, Either way, nothing really to report. I did have a day that my um, my legs, actually my low, kind of like my hips to my feet felt very like, oh, tired, like I had ran a marathon or I'd been sitting really funky. That was on Monday. I don't know if that had anything to do with the injection, because that would have been, let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That would have been 4 days after. I don't think that would have been anything. Um, I have also noticed a weird cyst that has popped up. Again, I don't know if that's just correlation doesn't equal causation. Um, so I don't really know. I doubt that one injection would cause a hormone imbalance to make a cyst pop up. I don't know. I keep track of what my body is and isn't doing so that I can make sure to note uh, what to tell the doctor whenever all this gets checked. So really nothing exciting to report in that regard. Um, I think I've mentioned this before. I know I probably have. November of last year, I had cataract surgery on my right eye and also a glaucoma surgery to clear the channel. It's what's called a trabeculectomy or a trab, and helps relieve the pressures so that they stay lower. Both of those were good. The only thing that really was not so great is that instead of having a quote premium lens, I have a uh, regular old monofocal lens, which I understand why they did it. I don't agree with it at all. I understand their reasoning. Since I only have one eye, they want to make sure to keep my right eye as healthy as possible and as protected as possible, meaning that they want to keep me in glasses. And they said as much. We want to keep you in glasses because it protects the eye. Okay. Well, unfortunately, having a monofocal lens, meaning one level of focus, monofocal, I can only focus on things that are in a distance, which is great. I have really good distance vision. I have 20/20, which is something that I've never had without my glasses on before. These are just regular old sunshades. But unfortunately, anything that is, well, from here to the phone, which is about arm's length. Yeah, arm's length. I can't focus on that. Like, I can't read it. I can see the time roughly. It's very difficult. Can see where everything is. When it comes to reading anything on the screen, it's not happening. It has to be very big font. And that's because my eye has lost the ability to focus because of the lens that they use. They asked me if I wanted a monofocal lens or a premium lens, which I think is the dumbest. It's so stupid to consider them a premium lens. Like, being able to focus on near and far things is not a premium feature of life. That is a regular old, we're all standard issue thing. But if you want one of those lenses, you have to pay more. I was willing to pay more because I did not want to lose the ability, the natural ability of my eye to focus. They were like, well, that would get you out of glasses and we want to keep you in them. That's neat. That's cool what you want, but take into consideration that maybe I wear sunshades all the time because I have a sensitivity to light. Maybe take into consideration that I have limited vision because of glaucoma, and I have had it, and I'll eventually lose my vision one day. So maybe I want to enjoy not having to wear glasses all the time for just, I don't know, maybe 20 more years of my life. Maybe consider that I always wear something protecting my eyes because I'm not an idiot. Like, these are all things that I feel like I was, if I was maybe like a child, I could see that. Like, come on. But anyways, there's my rant. So it's super annoying that they really didn't listen. I got the monofocal lens, and then when I told them, hey, it sucks, I gotta, they were very surprised I had 20/20 vision, but it's like, man, I can't put on a pair of reading glasses to see something, like, even at +3, like, I have to I have to put my reading glasses over a pair of glasses, my prescription, in order to see anything. And they're like, oh yeah, well, that's because you need bifocals. Then why didn't you prescribe me with bifocals straight out of the gate after I got the surgery, instead of making me screw around thinking that there's something incredibly wrong and telling y'all I can't exactly see everything clear, and have more appointment. Y'all are getting paid. Meanwhile, I'm not having any kind of results at all. So that kind of got on my nerves. But now I'm at the point where I went back to the same facility because I've had pain in my left eye for, I'd say, a little before COVID, because I have these little blisters that would pop up on my eye, on my left one, and they're painful when they rupture, and they're painful when I blink, and they're painful if it gets too dry. So I use these religiously. If you have dry eyes, use these. Use this brand. I don't screw with any other brand. I've been using these for longer than, good Lord, I've been using them as long as they've been available. Because they don't have anything that dries the eye out. It is literally, it feels sometimes, not this particular one. This is I forget which one it is. There's one that has like this lubricating effect, and it feels like what I imagine a rusty door feels like whenever it's a squeaky, rusty door and you lubricate it and there's no more squeak. Like, that's what it feels like on your eyes. They lubricate and they move around freely, and it feels so good. But so it's at the point now with my left eye where it's painful. You can obviously see the pressure in it is much higher than the right eye. The right eye has been consistently staying at about 6, and the one on the left is about anywhere from 16 to 30. I mean, it's gotten up there. Like, it's if it were a seeing eye, it would have been an emergency surgery. But because it's a non-seeing eye, they just give you eye drops to lower it. Brimonidine, Zioptin, and Dorzolamide. Those are the 3 that I'm on in the left eye. I wake up and then do some, and then at night I do another one. But it's like, it's a medication on an eye that doesn't see, and I'm putting this in my system. One moment. Literally got an order that wants to pay me $19 to drive all the way back home, which is 23 miles. Your food is going to be cold by the time I get it to you. There is no amount of insulated bags that's going to keep that warm. Like, you're out of your mind. Ordering from a steakhouse 23 miles away. Anyway. So we're at the point now where we're at the point of removing the eye. And this was suggested to me, oh man, many years ago. But it was at the moment, like, I didn't have a lot of pain in the eye. Wow, so that was longer than 3 years ago. I don't remember. I remember the doctor who suggested it, but it was whenever the first instance of one of these little blisters popped up. And I was like, you're smoking crack. Like, there's no, like, the eye still had color to it. It wasn't bloodshot anywhere. Like, this was years ago. No one could really tell that there was anything wrong with my left eye. It still had the color. It still moved. Like, everything still functions fine. So there was no, like, they could still look into my eye and see everything. The eye itself was healthy, is what I'm trying to get at. The optic nerve was not. That was, I mean, that's been ruined since I was 18. But you don't get rid of healthy material. Like, you can't just go and say, I want to have this removed. Or the first instance of seeing one of these things, you're like chomping at the bit to remove the eye. Like, it was very weird. It was very weird. And yeah, it's something that I'm doing now. But at the time, dude, I didn't have insurance. I don't know. It was just it was very odd then. And I was very offended that he even suggested it, because we've come leaps and bounds with, I mean, for crying out loud, we're already like, we've got Neuralink popping up. We've got other bionic type eyes that are popping up, which Neuralink hasn't done. They haven't really showed a lot of their vision stuff yet. But the hopes was that there would be something that could fix this problem, because they are regrowing optic nerves. They are doing all of this, but it's not at that point yet. Granted, whenever he suggested, the very first doctor suggested that I remove the eye, they were just getting started on regrowing optic nerves in geckos. I want to say it was around that time, or they hadn't even started yet. So we've come a long way, and I'm sure we're going to come an even further way from where we are now 6 years later. But the idea is that it would be easier to, how are they going to tackle this problem? Are they going to be regrowing, like actually transplanting an eye and regrowing optic nerve tissue, or are they going to be regrowing the entire thing? Because if they're only replacing the optic nerve and my eye is damaged or not there, then what good does it do me, because I had a perfectly good eye removed? So it's kind of weird, but that's where my thought process is at, and the doctor that I was talking to at the time, where he suggested it and said, hey, this is what I think, this is where I think things are going. So, unfortunately, the eye is not healthy anymore, and it needs to be fixed. So, speaking with a better facility, because the ones that did the cataract surgery, I don't think that they're listening to me very well, because I have some issues, and they're just kind of like, I don't know. Doesn't really seem like that's our problem. Doesn't seem like an eye problem to me. So I go and see a neurologist, and they're like, here's $24,000 worth of tests, and we're not going to get back to you. So no one's in a fire, no one's in a hurry to get things accomplished. So went to go speak to more professionals. Said basically, this is this and that's that, and this is where we're at. And they looked at everything. They said, sure, this is where we're at, and we can get you set up for enucleation, which is basically they are removing the contents of the eye, and basically they'll take and put a, just moving the phone because I got people walking around me. They basically remove the contents of the eye, and they put an implant in there that keeps the eye, the socket, open. Since my eye is still, the muscles, the eye itself is damaged, not the muscles around it. My muscles work fine. So that'll mean that with all that, I have the prosthesis that I get later on down the line will move pretty well. So that's cool. But yeah, so it'll be a week once I get everything set up, it'll be a week of healing with a conformer, which is like a small little piece of, it's not plastic, it's like plastic. I don't know exactly what material it is, but basically it goes over the eyeball itself, or where the eye was, to protect it while it's healing. It's got little holes in it so that medication can go in, but it keeps that new eye protected, keeps everything good and well. So then once that's, it takes like, I think a week to heal, and I'll be wearing a patch throughout that time, and my eyelid will basically just be kind of closed because there's nothing to keep it open yet. And then I wait 6 weeks, and then in 6 weeks, that'll be whenever I go and speak with an ocularist and they make the mold of the eye socket and create a prosthetic eye. Which is weird because that means that there's like two prosthetics that I don't think people realize. You have the one that holds the eye, the the eye socket keeps that in shape, and then you have the, what would be like the fake eye, which is just like a shell, not really a shell, but half dome that goes over the prosthesis. One moment. So so a week with the patch, and then while it's all healing, then 6 weeks after that, that's when I meet with the ocularist. And then I don't know if they do it all there that day or what, but it's a long time. So that'll be cool. I'll get to wear a patch for a while. And yeah, so there's a lot that's been going on this year, but we're getting things done, and I don't know where we're going from there, but I'm just going to make sure to keep making videos and keep updating, like really updating no one other than myself. I can go back and I can look at these videos and say, this is where I was at, this is where I'm going. Just kind of little video checkpoints for myself. So I can go back and look at these and say, hey, that's where I was. It's a progress journal, in a way. But it's here for people to look at and see. And maybe once I figure out what I want this playlist to be called and where I want to kind of, once I get serious about all of it, then I'm sure more people will see it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. Either way, I feel as though I'll get better at speaking to the phone. The ums and ahs will go away. And maybe I won't talk for over 24 minutes because no one really wants to listen to that. So that's the update. That's where I'm at. Unfortunately, I was supposed to get the surgery scheduled today, but I didn't know exactly when I was going to get a phone call. I just knew that I was supposed to expect a phone call sometime this week. Well, sometime this week was on Friday, about an hour before the facility closed. So whenever I finally got to call the person, they were no longer on the clock. Why you would call to schedule a surgery on a Friday before you close for the weekend is kind of beyond me, but I'm not a professional, I guess. So I don't know the formalities of all that, but it just seems as though maybe calling an hour before you close to schedule surgery may not be the best practice. So they said that they would call me back on Monday so that they could schedule it, but it would probably be August 28th. So it's quite a long ways away. I wish it were sooner, but it is what it is. So I know at least when to expect it. So I will give another update when another update happens. Until then, goodbye.